I'm going to introduce you to another special method today called the string method. And it's pretty simple. It does not take any arguments other than self. Remember, all methods take self so that you can access the internal properties of that object. And all this does is return a description of the object. And here's why that's useful. Let's play with this a little bit. So if I have a class called CLCar, and I want to define the string method of that object, and it has a default string method. So let's before we define the string method, let's talk about what this does by default. Int wheels equals 4. We'll just give it one property there so we can have a legit object. So if I say my car equals CLCar, like that, then it's going to, when I say print my car, what it's going to do is it's going to print a description. Eventually, there we go. Took a minute for Python to fire up. It's going to print a description of that object. It says, okay, so my car is an instance of the CLCar class, CLCar object at, and then that's the location in the computer's memory. That might be useful to you, depending on what kind of a program you're writing, but it might not be useful. So you might decide that there is something more useful that you want, that you can do with this, and that is where this special method comes in handy, because this allows me to change this description. And so I'm going to say something like this, return now. This is yelling at me because I haven't defined that variable at that point in the code yet. So I'm going to pop that right up there. Oh, and we got to use self to access that. There we go. So now, instead of printing this generic thing, I'm controlling what the description, the string description of that object is. So when I run this now, if I print my car, then I can print a custom message about that object or whatever information about that object I want to be available just via the print. So I'm just printing that object, and what it does is it says, okay, that object has a defined string method, so I'm going to substitute that for the default, which was, again, if I comment that out, the default looks like this. But you could use this in a variety of different ways to easily expose information about that object that you wanted to have available. So that's a handy method to keep in mind. And it is a special method, 2 underscores before, str, 2 underscores after, and it takes self as an argument, but that's really just so you have access to whatever properties are in that object. Okay, so that is the string method, and that's just a kind of a side note because it's useful to you. So we've talked about the initialization method and the string method. There are other special methods that you can use in object-oriented programming, but we're going to stick with those two for now.